Okay, so wood number one is the basswood. Just to give you a little bit of the slicing characteristics, it's pretty soft. Not as soft as some of the basswood that I typically find. But we'll see how this goes. And again, thumbnail test seems to work pretty good. Still got the smoke. So we've got a nice pretty solid coal there now. So the first one, we're pretty good. We've got a coal off of it. Since that was enough work, let's use a little bit of that. Phragmites. The second one is going to be our willow. This one was very well seasoned when we selected it, so I'm anticipating that my life is going to be much easier with this piece of wood. Could be wrong, but that's the point of trying this out. So we can see that smoke just came about really quick with the willow. Effortlessly, really. I'm just going to drill enough to get my divot in there. And this time, I'm going to shut off the camera while I create that notch, but I'm going to basically create the notch on the outside. I prefer creating the notch on the inside, but putting the notch on the outside might let you see it a little bit better. We've got our notch formed. This time I formed the notch on the outside just to give you a little bit better camera angle. I generally prefer making the notch on the inside, but you can do it on both sides. It's really what you prefer. It's a little bit easier to see when you're looking down on the inside as opposed to having the notch on the outside. But this piece of wood started to smoke almost immediately as I started drilling out. And again, I'm just taking my time until that notch fills right up with dust. And I lost it, but we almost got it there. reshape this spindle, shut the camera off for 1 minute. Probably would have worked out first shot there had I not lost control of my spindle. And I am having a little bit of a hard time keeping the spindle in control on this divot. My notch is just a little bit too wide, but I seem to be in a good spot now. I'm going to turn up that speed a little bit. And we're looking pretty good. So we've got a really nice strong coal there. Willow, very easy, as I really anticipated it to be. Okay, so the next one is going to be a little bit more of a challenge, just in the sense that we have a skinny hearth, and that demands a skinnier spindle. So I'm going to go back to my ash, and I have ash on ash. So again, the root is, or the hearth is ash root, which is a lot softer than the top material. And my spindle is a piece of ash, regular piece of ash, which is quite hard. So in this case, my drill is a lot harder than my hearth. Got good smoke right off the bat. Just trying to be careful with the drilling so I don't bust through the side. Just on the basis of where I don't got a lot of room, so I'm going to make my notch on the inside. And I'm going to make my notch relatively thin because it'll be hard to control the spindle in this case. So when you have a thin notch like this, one of the things you can do is flare out the bottom of the notch. So I have almost like an hourglass shape, and that's going to permit more dust to fill into the notch, because the bottom is sort of hollowed out, even though my notch on top is a little bit thinner than what I normally like. But I'm afraid that if I make that too wide, I'm going to lose control of the spindle, and that's something largely factored in by the fact that my hearth is so skinny. Okay. So we're just keeping this going. My desk pile is good. I'm going to turn up that speed a little bit. I lost it. You know, I think I would have had it there had I not lost it, because doesn't matter. I was able to push it together, and we got the coal anyways. So, even though for all intents and purposes I screwed up, we still got our coal. So ash root, that's number 3. Start our 4th wood that we harvested today. And this is the sumac. And I think I'm going to go to the ash on the sumac, just because sumac is a harder wood, and I want to make sure that my my spindle is harder. I'm not quite 100% sure if the sassafras spindle is harder than the sumac or not. So, we got smoke right away as we're starting to burn it out. Usually don't have any trouble getting lots of smoke with sumac. One problem with sumac is the smoke is actually rather stinky. It's not pleasant. My spindle is getting a bit dull there, so I had to reshape the spindle. Back on the sumac. Got our smoke coming now. And I'm just working on filling that notch, so nice and even strokes. Taking my time with it. Notch is starting to push out now, so I'm going to give her a little more speed and effort. It's all looking good to me. And we're good to go. So, there we go. We started our little video today, going through the bush. We identified the basswood, willow, piece of ash bark, or ash root, and some well-seasoned staghorn sumac, and we created 4 coals.